It's Izzy's, I think.
Is it?
Yes.
We've got a bit of a highly questionable emergency around here today. Amin Al-Hassan's flight got canceled. Izzy Gutierrez has something in his eye. But Stugotz is here to step into the breach. What do you like on the show today, Stugotz?
I'm pretty certain there were 17 other people they called as well. I am looking forward to, Dan, through one playoff game. One game. We are talking about whether or not we should blow teams up.
That's right. Dale, papi.
How do you feel watching Tiger win the Masters?
I'm looking forward to his thoughts on this because I imagine he was emotional. This was an exceptional story about an immortal who became human and now, with his kids, expressed joy in a way that made it feel like he was surprised, like the rest of us, that he has climbed back on the mountain. There is one person in this sport that can rise up and make it the biggest thing in sports. This is the guy, and it's been the only guy throughout history who can do that. And now his story has gone the way LeBron James's story went, where LeBron was popular, did a TV show, became unpopular, and then in popularity became the biggest thing in sports. This is the only rival that we have to that, and he just did the same thing because everybody was rooting for him. He expressed joy, and we've never had that combination of things look like that before when it comes to a guy who physically looks like he's older than none of us and all of us remember the last time we were checking in on him.
Yeah, it was a special day. And besides feeling like the fact I should have been watching that special day about 7 hours later than I actually watched it because that thing was on way too early. I will say this is a different Tiger Woods. Not just because it's actually a different Tiger Woods, it's a different feeling the fans have about Tiger Woods. The really cool thing was, and I was feeling it at home as well, was to see the crowd and how much the crowd adored him and how much the crowd was rooting for him. And I'm telling you, years past, we used to just marvel at the talent that was Tiger Woods, and now we are rooting for the person that is Tiger Woods, and that is a big change, Dan.
It's an interesting one, too, because of the humanity of it. Many people who excoriated this dude were fooled and betrayed by the Buick Family Man commercials. How could he do that with the golf club and the wife when he's the family guy? The robot, the curated image, the guy that you saw here has been broken once upon a time. We've seen him on a police cam on drugs in the middle of the night in Florida, and that guy was hugging his kids the way his father, his late father, hugged him. The evolution of this man as an adult is going to get people to root for him.
You know one thing, if I were Tiger, I think that I would have kept my hat on.
Yeah, there is that, right?
No doubt.
Yeah, there's this, yes.
Yeah, but that's what I was getting to, though. That helps humanize you a little bit. He's bald just like me.
It doesn't humanize him. It just makes him look a lot older than he did 20 years ago. Oh, and there it is. Yes, so I'm in no position to be making fun of the splotchy. Perhaps here they'll show you earlier in the show how they used a can of hair. Go ahead and superimpose it somewhere here. A can of hair to help me out here today.
It's a time for the 76ers to panic.
Thank you, Stugotz.
I love panicking after a
I know, he
playoff
does.
game.
And this is how we do it in basketball sometimes. The Sixers are going to win in 6 or fewer. Sometimes we get there in the creative ways. But if you want to fear for the Sixers, the thing you need to be paying attention to is not what Joel Embiid is doing on the bench with his cell phone, but Joel Embiid physically. And not just physically from his injury, because he's clearly not himself. And if he's not himself, they are indeed vulnerable. Also, it is hard to get into shape, playoff shape, when the games elevate and he's not been playing because of his injury. You combine those two things and you got Jimmy Butler taking all the shots and them losing. This thing can get bad quick with free agency and everything else if Joel Embiid doesn't get right.
Dan, what you have is a wide open East. Everyone's saying it's a wide open East. So yeah, the Sixers should be panicked because a lot of what you just talked about, Joel Embiid, since the All-Star break, played 14 of 24 games. He's injured, and it's hard to get back. And now you have Jimmy Butler, who has somehow become the leader of this team, saying Joel Embiid should come off the bench. Listen, when you arrive at a point where Jimmy Butler is your best player, you've arrived at being the Chicago Bulls or the Timberwolves.
He can't be your best player.
You know what is going to happen?
What's that?
Jimmy Butler is going to demand a trade to the Nets in the middle of the season.
Like the third quarter of Game 3. Hey, I'm headed over there.
One up Kevin Durant.
Wish to see this in more trouble, the Raptors or the Nuggets?
Oh, we have seen this Raptors story before. They always lose game one, no matter who's in their uniform. I think we all know that the Nuggets are not coming out of the West. They had a nice season, but nobody fears them. And they lost to a San Antonio team that allowed them to shoot, and they missed their shots, and they'll make more of their shots. But if you're Kyle Lowry and you're one of the worst postseason players ever, and you are integral to that team no matter how many pieces it adds, and you can't make any of your shots again, and you score 0 points, if I'm Kyle Lowry, we're always covering how he descends during the playoffs. And so even though he's not their most important player anymore, that kind of start is the worst possible start for another new refreshed playoff series for Kyle Lowry.
It has to be the Raptors. I mean, with the exception of Kawhi Leonard, they carry around those demons. And Orlando, I think we're forgetting just how good this basketball team is. The Magic headed into the postseason, last 30 games, were 21-9. I don't think I can name a single player. I'm not certain I can name the head coach. But 21-9 is good. And I don't like the feeling of having a guy in Kawhi Leonard who's not fully invested, almost like he has 1 foot out the door, not invested in their past, and certainly not invested in their future.
Certainly not invested. He knows nothing, by the way. He just said it's certain. All right, Poppy. Stugatz just betrayed us by saying nobody on this set knows anything about the Orlando Magic. Name some Orlando Magic players, Poppy. Let's go.
Vucevic.
Whoa! That's the big guy.
Fournier.
Fournier. It's not Fournier.
DJ Agustin.
Slow it down. Jesus, what? The coach of the Magic doesn't know to name that many Magic players.
Who's the coach?
Dwight Howard.
Okay, that's where it falls apart. That's where it falls apart.
Wish to see this in more trouble, the Raptors or the Nuggets?
I
done before, okay.
Yeah.
Do the Thunder need to blow it up if they lose to the Blazers?
A perfectly clean start to this question, as always, by my father. So the Thunder, because Paul George has been a different player since his shoulder injury, he was an MVP candidate before, and if you look at some of the numbers since his shoulder injury, he is not the same player. They don't need to blow it up. We don't need to overreact after one game. But Paul George needs to be what he was the first half of this season for this team to advance. It's not going to be good enough for Russell Westbrook to carry them.
I so badly want to blow it up after one game, but you can't. What are we doing here? Like 3 weeks ago, we were talking about whether or not the Thunder would represent the Western Conference in the NBA Finals. Kinda. Go
6
back
weeks. More like 6 weeks ago.
I had 3. I felt better for effect. But 6 weeks ago, is this a legitimate contender in the West? Dan, you're right. If Paul George is healthy, if the shoulder is right, then he and Westbrook together, they are a legitimate contender in the West. I still think they're going to win the Blazers series. And no, if they happen to lose it, there is zero reason to blow it up. Just get healthy.
So no one is going to give credit to Ernest Cantor, eh?
Oh, Enos. His name's not Ernest. Yes, let's give credit to Ernest Cantor. He was on fire.
I found out game one.
We love Ernest. We love Ernest.
We won Ernest. We won Ernest. He's a beast. He
is a beast.
He got the number of the Thunder now. You know, he knows which way to beat them up.
It's not going to end. Ennis is his name. That's okay.
Ernest? Cantor is his last name.
That's all that matters.
The Turkish guy.
The Turkish guy.
Should it be worrisome to the Warriors that KD couldn't control his emotions in Game 1?
I am very happy that we have America's foremost authority on ripping Kevin Durant for his decision to go to Golden State right over here, because he's been killing him for a couple of years and saying that Kevin Durant has no rings in his personal record book. But he has been all season hissing and defiant. He's got an enormous number of technical fouls, and it's okay for him to play on emotion because he's still great and they're better than everyone else. And furthermore, the only reason this question is phrased this way is because none of us know how to talk anymore about the Warriors always winning. It doesn't matter whether he's even there. They'll win without him as well. They'll beat just about anybody without him. So his anger is just a show.
Dan, I think people forget they had the greatest regular season and greatest season in NBA history before Kevin Durant got to the Golden State Warriors. I have 2 rules. 1, the Warriors can't complain about anything. 2, we as media and as fans cannot worry about the Golden State Warriors and Kevin Durant. When DeMarcus Cousins is your 5th best player, you cannot worry about the Golden State Warriors, and they cannot complain about a single thing. He's your 5th best player.
2 excellent rules by Stugatz.
Coming up next on Highly Questionable.
Baseball, the Minnesota Twins playing against the Detroit Tigers at home.
Buxton going back.
Oh,
Still
no.
going
Here
back.
we
He's
go.
at the wall. Leaps.
That doesn't look like it feels very good. This is what he used to look like very recently. It's not that long ago. But recently he changed up his look. I've not seen what he did with his hair, but here are his kids making fun of what he did to himself.
My son's TV show is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
We're fans of all pizza, not just Domino's.
Oh,
Still
no.
going
Here
back.
we
He's at the
go.
wall. Leaps.
That doesn't look like it feels very good. You got a catch in the third inning
Really throw it back.
of a 3-2 game in the first 2 weeks of the season. That back is going to hurt for the rest of the season. No, that was not worth it.
It was totally worth it. That's what you do. But I agree with you from this day. He's never doing it again.
Don't do it anymore.
Do
That's
not
it. That one time.
do
That was a one-time
that.
deal.
That's dangerous.
He has done it before. Are you
What?
kidding me?
Oh, what?
That's right.
My father's got a Brian Buxton library? Yes, he does.
There he goes. Go,
he
Dave.
goes,
Go,
here he
Dave.
goes.
He's going to leap. Boom. There we go.
Wow.
But it doesn't always go well.
Oh, there we go. This is why you shouldn't do it anymore, right here.
Here we go.
And again, my father's Buxton library, kind of amazing. Oh! Ah! Ouch.
Kyle Seager.
Changes the question if you don't catch the ball.
Good sign. Good to see.
Woof. Great effort. It's
Great
such a
effort.
pathetic way
Great
to end that clip.
I thought they were going to show the one about Canseco. Hits his head and goes off.
We can show that too. Put it on there if you want more
Right
fun.
on. There we go. Things always go well.
Yes, the best play
Jose.
in baseball
Go
history. It is. Thank you, Poppy, for your eternal library of baseball clips about the outfield wall.
Do you question if this is the future of basketball?
We go out to halftime of a game in Japan. Is this robot I saw on Get Up the other day? This Steph Curry robot shooting jumpers? They're not even jumpers because he appears to be anchored to the floor. They're not jumpers. It's a set shot. It looks a bit like Bill Laimbeer. A free throw from over there is what it looks like.
Oh, come on.
Yes, and here we go. He is now programmed to do that.
That's amazing.
It really is.
Isn't that just the Warriors? I mean,
That is just kind of the Warriors.
That's not the real robot.
You got a real robot?
I'll show you a real robot.
Where's their real robot?
I am a
Oh,
robot.
I thought he was going to throw a scream. He's the robot. Never a good impersonation when you're saying, I am impersonating this thing. Never good. Now he's a rabbit. He is transmogrified into a rabbit.
I don't want it to end.
You don't want it to end. It can't end fast enough. And now it's over.
Do you question if Caron Butler is a new man?
Okay, Caron Butler is a former Miami Heat player. He played all over the league. This is what he used to look like very recently. It's not that long ago. But recently he changed up his look. I've not seen what he did with his hair, but here are his kids making fun of what he did to himself.
Like he's a monster.
Daddy is wearing a wig. I mean, that was not, there were older people there. Everybody was horrified.
I think that Tiger Woods needs to call Caron Butler. Just a few tips,
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, yeah, he doesn't need to call Caron, just somebody who probably helped him with that.
Everyone at school has the glittery one. Of course she wants that one. And she wants the one with the doodads. No one has the one with doodads yet, because no one can find it. For the glittery one and the one with doodads, eBay.
I know what you're thinking. Electric.
it's not for you. And you're probably right.
Yeah.
Some heat.
That is swag. She has got swag. Stugotz, are you intrigued? It's kind of an odd conceit. I know you're not interested in the Royals baseball game, but are you intrigued?
Nope, it's Royals, White Sox, it's baseball, it's April. I'll tell you what, if Sister Joe ever gets called up to the big leagues and she pitches for either of those teams, then I'll start watching.
Okay, there you go.
Okay?
And he's lying about that too, by the way. He will not
Totally
watch
lying.
then either. Poppy, are you intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. I bet you one thing. I bet she could be pitching for the Marlins. You know, they need a few good arms there. You know, she has a hell an arm.
That kind of petered out a little bit. It petered out a little bit, but she does. She's got a hell of an arm. I don't know. The computer glitched.
On Fox Sports North, Blue Jays and Twins.
No, thank you. But let's check in, not with the major leagues, with the minor leagues of the Twins to see a pitcher celebrating a victory. What did it look like?
Now the 1-2 pitch from Knight. The kick
Man,
and the
first
pitch.
2 strikes.
Swing and a miss, strike
Yeah.
3. Inning is over. The hat is off.
Oh,
The
there it
nice.
is.
Call him up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice work by that
2-0
guy.
in the
Yes.
series.
A me first celebration. Let him do that in the big league. See how fast they call him and send him back down there. Stugotz, are you intrigued?
No, I'm not intrigued by baseball again. In
Oh.
April, I am. When they call that guy up to the big
Really?
leagues
Again,
and he
we're
celebrates a
doing
victory
that. When he
like
pitches
that,
against Sister
then I'll
Mary
start
Joe,
watching. Yes.
then Stugotz won't watch it then either. Poppy, are you
Bingo.
intrigued?
Oh, see, I'm very intrigued. I tell you one thing, these Latino pitchers, they know how to celebrate, buddy. His name is Dustin Noche. You know, I'm telling you one thing, that guy's going to make it big in the majors. One, he's
Knight.
called up.
No,
You know
it's
what I mean?
not Dustin Noche. It's Dustin Knight. Knight in Spanish is Noche, but he spells it with a K. It's like a Game of Thrones night. Never mind.
In syndication, Jeopardy!
Have you ever wondered to yourself, someone who knows a lot about trivia, if they were a professional gambler, if they threw a big money bet after big money bet at Jeopardy, how would they do? Let's check in with the greatest 7-day total in the history of Jeopardy because a professional gambler knows his trivia.
It'll go up because Fahrenheit 451. Happy birthday, Scarlett. Again?
I got it wrong the last time I shouted out to her, so.
Okay. Oh, you only wagered 31,000.